If you don't understand what pain is, you have a hard time accepting it. If you have a hard time accepting it, you then can't reciprocate it, knowing the level of pain you're inflicting when you're in the ring, right? And that's for MMA or boxing. So
you got to feel it.
Yeah, you have to understand it. Like, that's why when police officers join the academy, they give them a stun gun, but they have to get stunned so they can understand what it is and how to gauge it and when it's necessary and when it's not. And it's the same thing. When you're fighting someone, you have to have that. You have to have the understanding that, okay, we're two gentlemen and we're getting ready to engage in this. But boxing is a sport, the only sport in America that when you get in there, no one's playing. It's the only sport where no one's playing.
Right.
Hey, I'm Armando Leduc, producer, film actor, and owner of Leduc Entertainment. I've chosen a life off the beaten path and wanted to find others that are doing the same. Spaghetti on the Wall is a show based on all of the years that I've thrown spaghetti on the wall and nurtured what's stuck. We will share fun stories, ideas, tips, tricks, and more. Welcome to Spaghetti on the Wall.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on when you are consuming this podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another Spaghetti on the Roll. Reaux Armstrong in the house. What's up, dude?
What's up, man?
Yeah. You're going to want to bring that to you. I know. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Is that close enough?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. What about you?
I'm good. So Reaux is my boxing coach. We met in the boxing gym. Also is a construction guy, does interior design. So I was like, I got to bring him on because you're a man of many talents, man of doing a lot of things, and just kind of wanted to get into the mind of Reaux and seeing how you do. We're going to talk. I'd love to talk about health. I'd love to talk about mental health. Love to talk about boxing and how you're approaching, how do you approach your workouts and how do you approach like teaching other people how they should be doing their thing?
Well, first off, let me say this, right? So everyone has situations in life that kind of triggers them to either do, the whole fight or flight kind of thing. So what I do, I find what any client runs from, right? And I use that as a motivation. So we're going to build a guy, no matter what they're going through, whether it be weight loss, whether it be in preparation to undergo cancer treatment, whether it be someone who's experienced any traumatic mental situations that were physically uncomfortable, like women. I tend to take that, whatever that monster is, and we build him up, and then we get ready to fight that monster. And we analyze what scares you about that monster, and then in turn, we overcompensate for that and strengthen those weaknesses, thus getting you ready to conquer this mental or physical monster in front of you. So everything's a fight.
I love that. So because people are always they can't seem to get motivated or they can't stay motivated or, so how are you working on that? So you're building up this monster. Kind of explain a little bit more about how you're doing that.
Okay, so let me give you an example, right? There's a lady and her husband was filing for divorce. I will not mention her name. Awesome lady. She was maybe in her mid-40s. She was a bit overweight, low self-esteem, and she just was not happy with herself. And she came to me and she said, well, hey, look, I want to lose a little weight. I want to get my body right. I said, okay, cool, surface level. So as I began to learn her and ask her a few questions, I noticed there was something under what she was telling me. And I waited till she was comfortable and I asked, I said, hey, what's the real reason? She was like, I'm going through a divorce. And I was like, oh, okay. I said, so you want to lose weight because you're going through a divorce? Because I try to help people answer their own question so they can understand what their mission is and I can just assist, kind of like a co-pilot. And she was like, well, my husband made some comments and he's just not attracted to me anymore. I said, okay, cool. So what don't you like about yourself? And she gave me specifics. I wrote all those specifics down. I said, hey, when's your next court date? And she was like, well, I don't know. I said, well, find out. So they went through their little, I guess it's a mediation thing or whatever, but she had another one coming up in maybe like a month or so. She was trying to do it for that. I said, okay, cool. So let's give you a goal. So that way, when you walk in there, he'll see it's a different person. You'll no longer have low self-esteem because you'll see your body start to change. And along with change comes confidence. Along with confidence comes progression, right? In any aspect in life. So I just, boosted her up. We worked out real hard, and we got an outfit that she wanted to fit into. We bought it like 2 sizes too small, and she figured it out. We figured it out, and when it came time for her to go into that office, she was more confident. She was way more cheerful, and she was able to face that head on. And even after that whole situation, she still kept that repetition going. And now she motivates, young ladies who are going through the same thing. So it's just kind of like taking whatever your worst fear is and minimizing it.
That's awesome. So how are you keeping your clients, I guess, sticking to it? Because consistency is the hardest thing.
Yes.
Starting something is
easy.
Keeping it going, that's the thing. That's the thing that messes everybody up. So how do you keep them consistent? Like, do they have to buy in? Is that why, like, maybe personal training is so expensive?
Well, here's the deal, and let me say this, and there's no shade to any other personal trainers. If a personal trainer trains you to always be dependent on them, they're not necessarily looking for your best interest. After you work with somebody for so long, you're supposed to be able to pick this up and go on. So if I train you for 3 months, depending on what it is, after 3 months, I don't want to really see you anymore. You can call me, or say, hey, look, I need a boost, and we'll get to it. But I'm training you not only to defeat the fighter or whatever you have going on in life, but also for you to learn how to train yourself mentally. And that's going to keep you consistent because it's the same concept, different monster, whatever it is.
I love the idea of thinking about the training as an opponent. I had never thought of that in just training, because you're just like, you're just training to be better or just live healthier. But I've never thought of training in terms of like training to beat something, right? And then putting a face to it, or making it a thing that you're beating.
Yes.
That's powerful. Where did you think, was this taught to you? You thought of this yourself, or?
Definitely wasn't thought of myself. I've had a multitude of trainers growing up, from football to MMA to boxing, and I'll mention these 3 names because these are 3 key people that have helped me kind of become the person that I am as far as mentally, right? So there was a guy named who do I want to mention first? Let's do him. So there was a guy named Ronald Weaver.
I know Ronald.
You know Ronald Weaver?
Of course.
Yes. So Ronald Weaver was the one who kind of bought me out and got me into boxing. And I did MMA, but boxing's a little different. You have to, it's more, MMA is more of a, you have to be able to go to war and have a whatever kind of ammunition, right? Because you don't know whether you need a grenade, a shotgun, a bazooka, right? But boxing is more so sniper land. Everything's sharp, precise, and quick, right? So he taught me to, hey, look, we're going to focus on your hands, and this is what you need to do. This is how you need to do it. This is why. And when you mess up, here's what you're going to feel. So with that being
pow.
Yeah. So with that being said, he actually got me out of my shy mode and started to understand what pain was. If you don't understand what pain is, you have a hard time accepting it. If you have a hard time accepting it, you then can't reciprocate it, knowing the level of pain you're inflicting when you're in the ring, right? And that's for MMA or boxing. So
you got to feel it.
Yeah, you have to understand it. Like, that's why when police officers join the academy, they give them a stun gun, but they have to get stunned so they can understand what it is and how to gauge it and when it's necessary and when it's not. And it's the same thing. So Ronald Weaver did that for me. And then there was a guy named William Montgomery, who's an older guy. He received a proclamation for Spartans Boxing Club in the City Council of New Orleans. And he was a guy who made a lot of mistakes in his life. And he's seen me, and he tried to prohibit me from making the same mistakes, but also use some of that knowledge that he gained during a readjusting phase in the Angola prison for like 30 years. And he just changed my mindset as far as like how to attack something. It's vicious, it's ferocious, it's relentless, and it's no mercy, right? And when you're fighting someone, you have to have that. You have to have the understanding that, okay, we're two gentlemen and we're getting ready to engage in this. But boxing is a sport, the only sport in America that when you get in there, no one's playing. It's the only sport where no one's playing.
Right.
And you could lose your life in there, as well as MMA and some other combat sports. But just in a nutshell, just how to be relentless and how to put your personal feelings aside and win. Because like he always said, my job is not to worry about how hard he's going to hit me. My job is to destroy him. So yes, you're going to hit me. I can take yours, but I know you can't take mine. So that has to be the philosophy. So Ronald Weaver kind of got me out of the shyness, taught me the why, when, and what to do, right? William Montgomery taught me how to be ferocious and relentless and don't stop. And then there was another guy, Coach Spider Hemphill.
Spider, yeah.
Yeah, Coach Spider was more of the philosophy and how strategic war works. So it turns to chess. Like, you know the saying, it's chess, not checkers? Well, yeah, it's like chess times 5 when you're working with Spider. So those three guys really helped me to develop myself, and combining a little bit from each one of them allowed me to figure out how to conquer things in my own life outside of boxing, right? Even to dealing with, my daughter, learning how to create that bond as a father. Because raising a son as a man, it's kind of a little easy, You do what your dad did, and what you base it off what you liked and what you didn't. Well, with a daughter, it's a different monster,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You gotta tread carefully with those little feelings,
Yeah, you do.
So, yeah, that's kind of how I got into my mindset through those three guys in my life. So, shout out to them.
Yeah, man. Shout out to them. I definitely know those guys. Love the. I gotta get back into the boxing gym, man.
You should.
I got to.
It's calling you.
It is. I always feel so much better about myself when I leave it out, when I leave it all out there, and I'm just like a pile of sweat. It's the best.
Yes.
So here's to January 2024. Rolling in and making that happen, and just, committing to that process. Because that's what it is. It's like, talk to me about how you are scheduling the time. Like, how should somebody approach scheduling a person that's busy like me, right? Like, I'm running a business. I have a bunch of people pulling on me. How do I approach the scheduling? And then also talk to me about, and maybe it's just, it might be a nutrition thing. Cause like, I just get to the end of the day and I'm like, done. Yeah. I'm done. You know what I mean? Cause it's like, it takes all of my mental energy to answer every single person's question. I've got fires going on, that I'm having to put out. I'm dealing with people's personality, and it's not a physical thing, but it's a mental thing. But like, at the end of the day, I feel so damn tired that I don't feel like I can do anything. And maybe, it could be a nutrition thing. So talk to me about that.
Okay, well, first let me elaborate on what you said as far as the ending. Being exhausted and being tired. And remember, everything translates to a fight world, right? That's the best analogy, at least for me. So basically what you're saying is you've done 8 rounds, you got 2 more to go, and you don't have nothing left. But no matter if you fight or not, the time is going to pass. The time is going to keep going. And the bell's going to eventually ring. So you can either do 2 things. You can throw away what you did earlier, and just kind of give up, or you can say, you know what, if I'm going to finish strong. And even if I don't finish strong, I finished with everything I had. So as far as scheduling, you have to look at your terrain. You have to look at your ring, your arena, right? You're not stationary a lot, maybe. So if you're a person that have meetings at 9 and then have to travel and have another meetings at 11, and then you got to come back, you got another meeting at 1:30, and you're in different parts of the city, well, it's going to be kind of hard to commit to a one building hub, right? So you have to do what we call calisthenics, which doesn't require any weights, just body weight. So you may put yourself on a 250 squat a day regimen, along with 250 push-ups. So whenever you go somewhere, you just take 10 minutes, you do 25 push-ups, 25 squats, and you move on. And throughout the day, they add up. So and then when you get an opportunity, maybe, and that's someone who's busy, normally only gets an opportunity twice a week to really stay stationary and focus on themselves. So those would be the days that you'd work extra hard, like you'd go to a hub if you could, right? But if you couldn't, well, those calisthenics will kind of hold you over. So scheduling is all based on when you can do it in between. And there's always time. There's always time. Yes.
You have to make the time.
Yes.
I like that idea. I like the, so what you're saying is I've got to think about what the monster is, what my opponent is. And then I've got to think about my time in terms of like a boxing match. Yes. Right? It's like, all right, time's going to pass regardless. So I can either fight or I can be defeated.
Or you can run.
Right.
Yeah.
And now, so what you're saying is I'm soft.
Definitely not. Not saying that you're soft. I'm just saying you haven't hardened yet. And there's a difference.
What's the difference?
So being soft is a person who knows what's coming and refuse to combat it. Not hardening up yet is a person who doesn't really know what's coming and don't really know how to go at it and hasn't really been through the process to harden up to approach it. They want to win. They just haven't hardened up enough to go in there and take those punches. So this is a big difference.
So I should go and get punched in the face.
Life's already punching you in the face, I'm sure.
Yeah,
it punches all of us.
All day. All day, every day.
Yeah.
But physically, like I did want to go, I'm an actor now though, but I did want to like fight when I was training. Because like you wanted to see, like, is this training happening? Is this training working?
Is it real?
Is it real? You know what I mean? And and my wife was like, no, you're an idiot. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to get your nose broke and then that's it, right? And then you start looking like Mickey Rourke.
Well, let me just say this, right? As a guy, your profession, your face is your temple, right? Your money maker. So you don't want to go in there and just get reckless because you still have to preserve your way of life.
Right.
However, there's headgear, and when you work, you have to work with people who understand. Work with people who, like, they're not a fighter 24/7 because some fighters can't cut it off. Right. But you have
get
to
in and they're like, I'm going to destroy you.
Yeah, the instincts just take over. Right. The bell rings and they forget who you are.
Right.
And it's work time.
One of my favorite movies. Have you seen Warrior? I know you've seen
that's the two brothers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it.
Oh, dude. And when he's all like, hey, we need somebody to spar. He's like, I'll spar. And he's like, this guy? And he just like destroys him. Have you seen that? Oh, watch that movie. It's fantastic.
That happens more often than not, believe it or not.
Yeah? Just some no name in a boxing like place and just
it normally happens in a fight. So one guy, and we have a guy in our city who this actually happened to. I won't say his name. But he was fighting at the Bell in Baton Rouge. And his opponent, he picked his opponent. His opponent had like 10 losses and like 6 of them by getting knocked out, right? And it was his second fight. So he thought it was good to fight this guy. What he didn't know was the guy he was fighting, his first 10 fights were all contenders. Yeah, he just wanted a payday, but they were all like pretty good contenders. And the contenders said, okay, cool, he's a nobody, I'll take him. But it was fights all the way to the end. Like it wasn't just walkovers. So when he gets in here, he's thinking, oh, this will be simple. Wrong. Mop the floor with him.
Oh wow.
He almost sent him to the hospital. So that happens a lot, pretty often.
Because the ego comes in.
Ego
gets involved.
And when ego's involved, the hospital isn't far.
No doubt.
Seriously. So.
No doubt. So talk to me about you're training people. Mm-hmm. You're also doing construction. So let's pop into that because I know you're getting into interior design. I saw some of the videos that you're doing.
Yes.
Looks really cool. How did I know you were boxing and then you're like, all right, I'm gonna start doing this now. Doesn't really feel like a nice transition or a good segue. It just feels completely like.
Imagine this, right? So when in this analogy, most Marines or soldiers or anybody in special forces, they go on a mission. After the mission, they do what they call debriefing, right? To make sure they're able to pop back into society and deal with civilians. That's all it was. I was submerged in a world of violence because, make no mistake, MMA and boxing is violence. It's artful, but it's still violence, right? And after you do that, you need a place to decompress. And if you're not around a bunch of friends or just a bunch of regular folks and crowds are really not your thing, then your space becomes your debriefing hub. So I like to tell people when it's about interior or design, the first thing people do, they go for colors, right? I don't. The first thing I do is I think about a song. Whatever song a person listens to the most when they're stressed out, that's the vibe I'm going to bring into the home.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Because is this something that you made up or you saw
that's
somewhere?
No, that's something I personally do.
That's interesting that you say that because I do the same thing when I'm script writing.
Yeah?
Like when I'm writing and I'm like, all right, this is the feel of this scene. I'll put the music on in the background while I write it.
And it helps.
Get that. Oh, yeah. Then it really like sets the tone for, yeah. So it's funny that you do the same thing except for interior design, but continue. Sorry.
So, yeah, I do that and kind of mix it with what's going to help a person decompress, what's going to help them recharge, and what's going to erase small amounts of trauma, right? So the song is just going to give you a vibe. If you're a person that you're working out all the time and that's your fight, well, in your design, it's going to be a massage chair. Some of it may look like a spa, right? Just because that's where you normally will go to decompress.
Yeah, it's my happy spot. Real quick, have you been to the IP Casino?
No, I have not.
Dude, that spa over there at the IP Casino, yeah. They have a wet area for the men's, and then they have like the co-ed area with like the co-ed steam room, but like quality.
Top notch.
Oh, man, that's my happy place. I try to go there like once a month to just like.
Where's that located?
Biloxi.
Oh, okay.
And it's not that it's $50 for the day pass, and you have the
that's
gym
not
there
bad at all.
Yeah, you have the gym, you have the wet room, sauna, steam room, jacuzzi. They have like a chill out area. They have an area to like take a nap. Like, dude, amazing.
Right.
But continue with the spa because I like that.
Yeah. And so there's a few questions I'll ask a client. Right. What stresses you out the most? What song helps you decompress? And if you could travel to one place and get stuck there, where would it be? Right. And when they answer those questions, that'll pretty much tell me in what direction to go. So like if somebody say, I would want to go to New York. Right. Okay. So I know New York doesn't have a lot of foliage. It's mostly concrete, modern. Right. So then we'll go for like a New York condo style. If they tell me, well, I like to go to Bali or Turks and Caicos, well, I know it's a little different. So I'd include a bunch of more plants, inside, outside combinations kind of a thing. So it's just basically, what the person wants, also what they need. That's it. It's no specific color. Everything doesn't have to be matchy-matchy. So if I pick green, blue, and white, if they like green, blue, and white, well, the whole house isn't going to be green, blue, and white, right? Just the sections that you're going to be in there a lot. So if you're going to be in an office, that's going to be green, blue, and white. If that's the colors that you love, because that's the work area, so you have to be as motivated and happy as possible. Everything else is going to be the vibe, the relaxation. Should be broken down into compartments.
I love that. So what's the name of the interior design company?
Well, I wouldn't say the interior design company because I do it myself, and I just go by Reaux. I don't try to appeal to the masses. You know, they have big companies out there, and there's no shade to them, and they're awesome. Don't get me wrong. There's like a team of 6 or 7 people that get together and they create this home. Well, the problem is when you do that, from my experience, right? You have 6 or 7 people. Those 6 or 7 people have not spoken with the client, have not spent time with them. Now, one person may, meet with the client. However, everyone has a job to do, and then they come back to the table and put it together. I don't necessarily go like that. I have a vision from start to finish, and if I need help executing, I'll do so. But to bring all those different vibes and try to merge them into one person's vibe that's needed, it's kind of hard.
No,
so it'll look great, but it'll feel empty sometimes.
So, and then you're doing construction as well?
Yes, general contracting, yes.
Okay. Is that your company too?
Yes.
And but it just goes by Reaux. So like
no, that's Top Row General Contractors.
Gotcha. And then the interior design is a nice little marriage and referral partner.
That's a little more intimate.
Yeah. No, I like that. Well, look into this camera. Let people know where they can find you.
Okay, so you can find me on Instagram. It's Top Row, REAUX. on IG. I am on Facebook as Reaux Armstrong as well.
Cool. Hit him up. He's great. If you guys need training, amazing person. We're going to start again this week. Not this week. I can't.
Tomorrow.
I can't. I'm going to Fort Lauderdale. I can't. I don't have enough time. But no, I'm definitely going to be back, and start taking advantage of the resources that we have right here. So,
yes, sir.
Reaux Armstrong, thank you so much for being here. It was fantastic having you.
Thanks for having me.
Learned some stuff today, so I'm going to implement. Y'all implement too. And that was Spaghetti on the Wall, ladies and gentlemen, brought to you by Leduc Entertainment. For all of your video production needs, podcasting, social media, digital marketing, whatever, we got you. And you can watch Spaghetti on the Wall anywhere where you can hear a podcast. You're probably listening to it right now. And we'll see y'all next week.